Welcome to It's Your Business, a program designed to highlight our local small businesses. I'm your host, Veronica Douglas. On today's show, we'll engage in a conversation with Abel Garcia, President and CEO of Execufirm. Execufirm is a premier executive search and outplacement firm that assists in repackaging, reinventing, and marketing a brand you. Abel has been an entrepreneur for 30 years, owning fast food chains, Mexican restaurants, and video game rooms, amongst other things. In 1978, he bought 7 Dairy Queens to become the first Hispanic franchisee in Texas. Welcome, Abel. It's so great to have you.
Thank you, Veronica. I really enjoyed you inviting me, and I'm looking forward to a great conversation here today.
Well, the intro did not even touch on all of your experience in being an entrepreneur. Give us a little bit more information about your history in the beginning. How did it all start?
Well, Veronica, I came to Houston as fast as I could, as soon as I graduated high school, and I started going to school at night. And on Milam Street on 1900, there used to be a boarding, and I used to load trailers at night, ice cream packages, and go to school during the day. And I've always been, I'll start this way. My mom says you were born to be a leader, and I believed her, okay? Even when times were tough, I'd say, wait a minute, my mom said I was born to be a leader. And so I really liked the leadership roles in school and so forth. And so I started out at the bottom, and I started learning, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur. So after about 4 years with Borden's Ice Cream and went up to assistant managers there, I was recruited from a Dale Carnegie course to become a Dairy Queen manager in 1970. And I think about a year later, I became a district manager of 7 to 8 stores, and then 3 or 4 years later, I became a division manager of 24 stores, and then I said, I can do this. I want to do this on my own. And so I took the leap and bought 7 Dairy Queens. I owned 8 to 10 Dairy Queens in between, sold them, bought them, and then I became interested in other businesses because I have an inquisitive mind and I like challenges. So I got into a video game business back when Pac-Man first started, built a business of about 80 or 90 of those machines. If you don't sell them real quick, turn them over, they get old in 6 months. And so I did that for a little while, and then I thought, I want to build a chain of taquerias here in Houston because it had come to where, you know, the Hispanic populations had grown. But I want to do it the way Burger King and McDonald's does it. I want to do it in a professional way, not the way we do it at Dairy Queen, kind of mom and pop. I love doing it that way, but I wanted to learn. So I went to work at age 50 after I sold all my Dairy Queens as a manager trainee for Burger King. So I could learn how the big boys did it. I learned how they did it, but in the process, I was recruited by an executive search guy. He says, we have a steakhouse at 500 Steak. Do you want to do that? I said, I'm in the learning process. Why not? So he said, after he saw me, he said, no, you need to be my executive search restaurant guy. You have a lot of experience. So I became an executive search consultant. He gave me a book and a phone number and says, go get him, Tiger. And it took me about a year to really get to know what I was doing. But after I learned that business and I decided I can do this, so I hung my shingle. And I got named by Execufirm because it was for executives mainly. Very quickly, within 2 years, we were top 25 Houston Business Journal executive search firms. And then 9/11 came. And wow, we didn't have any business. They were laying people off by the hundreds of thousands. And so someone invited me to a Hispanic MBA association meeting. And I was enthralled. They got me, you know. I said, wow, all these, and I called them blackheads because everybody had dark hair, right? And young. And so I became excited, and I said, I want to do this. I want to help people, you know, expand their possibilities. And so I took another phase. I became a professional fundraiser for the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Never had done that before. But, you know, I think in some degree, ignorance is bliss. I didn't know why I wasn't supposed to do that. I didn't know why it wasn't the thing to do, but I just made a list and followed it, and lo and behold, the Houston Hispanic Chamber of Commerce became the #1 out of 136 chambers that year in new membership and so forth. So I got the bug, and I started raising money for nonprofits. I probably raised money for about 10 or 12 nonprofits. I'm now in a nonprofit, the Nemec, National Association of Minority Contractors. Love it. Anything that's a challenge, as I mentioned to you before, I love a challenge because it helps to expand who you are. You have to reach, you have to learn more and so forth. And so I'm in the learning stages every day and enjoy challenges.
You make it sound so easy, Abel. So let's back up a little bit. Now, you were the first Hispanic franchisee owner in the state of Texas.
Okay.
You know, what obstacles did you have to overcome to be so successful? Because I know our small businesses overcome obstacles every day, but you know, you set a record. You're the first in Texas. So what obstacles did you face at that time?
You know, Veronica, when I was going to school back then, I went to school in a small town. There was a lot of injustice and racial slurs and so forth, and I took those as a challenge. I will just work harder and be better than what they think I can be, and I will be the leader. And so I took them. I didn't take them personally. I took them personally from a business standpoint or from a personal standpoint of getting ahead. So I always would try harder. I wanted to be the best. Mm-hmm. And so when I became the first Hispanic franchisee, I didn't even know it. Mm-hmm. That wasn't the goal. The goal was to just be the best you can be and beat everybody, because I'm very competitive. And a couple of years later when I found out, and then it became more important as I began to move into nonprofits, because it was important for me to be able to teach others or share with others that you too can do it. But no, I never thought about it.
Mm-hmm. So you've owned 10 to 12 small businesses.
Yes.
You know, how did you transition from the fast food industry into the executive search firm? Was it easy for you to make that transition? Because, owning a restaurant and then going into executive search firm and then having video game halls, they're all three very different type of businesses. Right. How did you, was there any funding involved? How did you start up in the beginning?
It's a great question, because while I did have a 2-year college AA, it took me a while before I learned about money, lending money, and I read a lot of books, but line of credit. I would start businesses on my credit cards and pay it off within a year because the interest was terrible, until I learned about line of credit. So I was learning every day. The question I think can be answered best is, I love to see, the bigger the challenge, the more I'm interested in doing it, in overcoming it. This particular entity that I'm in now has been a real turnaround job. It was very difficult, I'll tell you that, but the more difficult it is, the more it stretches me, the more I become determined. I have to do this, we can do this, I can get a couple of people to help me, and it's been turned around. I think that you've probably noticed that there's been a change there, and it's so rewarding to see not just the change, but to see the people that were there before that now are inspired and motivated, and that's payday for me. When I see somebody like Roger, that he's really excited and so forth, that may surpass what I'm doing, that's phenomenal. You want to have people do better than what you can do, and that's rewarding. To someone like me, that's rewarding. So it's always a challenge, and it's always a challenge to say, I did it once before, I can do it again. Sometimes it becomes harder, but that's okay, because again, I enjoy a challenge.
And so you're talking about your work now that you're doing with Nemec.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Nemec.
Nemec is the National Association of Minority Contractors. We're one of 17 chapters in the nation. We bring in small contractors, cement pourers, drywall, architects, the whole gamut. If you're doing less than $8 million, you're a small business. And of course, it's diverse. We bring all the Houston's diverse, right? So we bring in, the African Americans, we bring in the Hispanics, we bring in, the Indonesians and Pacific Asians and so forth. And that's exciting, because that particular mix or tapestry that's been woven is really phenomenal. There must be probably 10 or 15,000 small business people here in Houston, small contractors. And it's a shame that they don't have a place where they can gather, where they can share, where they can learn, where they can grow together. And so that's the big emphasis on there. Until we have 2,000 or 3,000 members in our group, I'll feel like now we're a success, because the more people we help, the more we've accomplished as an organization.
And what is your specific role with Nemec?
My role...
Are you the vice president?
I'm actually the executive director, which is like the president CEO, because he's the operating form. And so I help Roger, our chair, education chair, set up lunch and learns. I have after hours. I go to luncheons or breakfast like Milton Thibodeau's breakfast that he has once a month for 27 years. What a guy. And I try to bring people into Nemec to share what we're doing so that we can grow together. The more, like yourself, Veronica, you've been involved, HCC has been involved in helping us have a meeting place, and that's all great, because, we're all working together towards one end. Houston, again, is a phenomenal city. I would not live anywhere else, because we have such diverse culture, and we help each other, and I think that that's a great thing, and that's what I enjoy about what I'm doing with Nemec. I'm doing a variety of things, and I'm trying to do things like I've done in my book to try to inspire and motivate people. It just gives me a great deal of joy to see the same people that were there in Nemec 2 years ago, see how they're performing, seeing how they're, their chests are out and they're doing well, and I enjoy that because they deserve it. They needed it. They needed to have a plan. Okay, they needed to have a plan. They needed to have a process, a purpose.
So anyone that is a minority contractor, they can essentially become a member of NAMEC?
Yes, and the first thing that they need to do is they need to get certified. And so that's important because you need to certify the fact that, hey, yes, I am Hispanic, yes, I am African American, I am of a minority status, and I am a small business. And it's just a matter of producing paperwork. Because again, if we're going to have contracts, big contracts that say, well, it's a $100 million contract and 20% or 30% or 15% is dedicated to minority contractors. You have to prove that, yes, in fact, I am a minority contractor. Yes, I do keep good books. Yes, I do pay my taxes. We have to be good entrepreneurs and good business people to be able to qualify.
So you have to be certified to be a
Yes.
member. Okay, that's
Yes.
something I didn't know. That's really interesting to learn.
You can join as a non-certified member, but the first point of order is that we need to certify you because there's so much opportunity in the certification field. The city of Houston has what, $2-3 billion? There's $6 or $7 billion in the next 3 or 4 years. So if you're not certified, you can't participate. And so we need to get you certified so that you can participate. We can't guarantee anybody work, but we can guarantee you opportunity to bid for work.
And you help them through the certification process.
Absolutely. If I had to, I hold their hands. Yesterday at the breakfast with Milton, I had 3 or 4 new people there that just joined us. I said, you have to go to this breakfast first because they have to see the reality. There really is a lot of work. There really is a lot of money to be made. Once you convince yourself, hey, this is where I need to be, then the rest comes easier.
Without giving any specific dates, tell us about some of the networking opportunities that NAMEC hosts.
Well, this past year, we're holding probably like 32 events, not just so that we can hold events, so that we can bring people together. We'll have 12 after hours networking, which it's a more casual environment. I usually invite 6 or 8 general contractors so that we can be close and we can get a chance to chat with them. Rather than 10 or 15 minutes, you can sit down and talk with them for a while. And that's important. And then we have 12 lunch and learns, where we show you how you should be bonded, how you should be able to run your books, how you should be able to, we invited McCarthy the last time. Tell us how you like to work, how you like your forms filled out. We want to know how you work so we can do it right the first time. So the lunch and learns are very important. And then we have some other events. We have some phenomenal events coming up. As I mentioned to you, we have a luncheon where we try to do things that have never been done before, not just for the purpose of that, so that we can bring some uniqueness. So we're honoring, I think, about 20 Purple Heart recipients at our luncheon at a very nice place at the Houston Junior League. And so we're stepping up our game and doing some things that are more meaningful. We're not going to Disneyland. We're going to Minute Maid in August 24th to celebrate the Day of the Construction Worker. We hope to get everyone in construction behind that effort. It is put on by NAMEC, but it belongs to the construction industry. We want it to belong. So we'll have a big fiesta for about 4 or 5 hours outside of Minute Maid. They have a Halliburton Park, and then we'll move in, 1,500 ticket holders to enjoy the game.
Wow.
And so I hope that we're wanting for it to be a great event for our construction industry. You know, and I'll mention this. After Harvey, everybody was given a thank you, a warm thank you, the firefighters, the first responders, the federal government, everybody except the construction workers. So immediately after I get a little emotional, immediately after the water went down, construction went to work.
Ready to go.
24/7.
Ready to
And
go.
they put us back together again. Nobody recognized that. And so we thought we need to get that attention that they deserve.
Well, you're doing a great job, Abel, in your position with NAMEC. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back, I want to take a deeper dive into your book and into Execufirm.
Okay, thank you, Veronica.
We're going to take a quick break. When we return, we're going to deep dive with Abel Garcia, CEO of Execufirm.
HCC. So many locations. So little tuition. Register today at hccs.edu/now.
We have academic programs that help students get from high school into a university. And the data is very clear that students that take the path of a community college finish in far higher numbers than students that start straight into a university experience. Our students can achieve a baccalaureate degree in multiple fields from the universities in the area without ever leaving Houston Community College.
HCC. So many careers, so little tuition. Register today at hccs.edu/now.
Welcome back. We're going to finish our conversation with Abel Garcia. And Abel, we left off, we were going to talk about your book and your firm. So tell us what Execufirm is doing differently to place CEOs in key positions.
You know, we take a great deal of time to be able to empower the candidate. And I think that that's not being done at this point. You send a resume to an executive search firm, they look at it, they try and correct the punctuations and so forth, and they send it on to their client. What we do is we sit with the candidate, we visit with them maybe a couple of 2, 3, 4 hours, we find out exactly what they're good at, and we tell them, tell us how you would explain to me, do me a PowerPoint about how you did a job. In other words, step 1 was this, step 2 was this, step 3, 4, 5, and draw me a picture. Again, visuals are so important. We don't have to say a lot of words when we visually put something together, so we help them, I say unpeel the onion. I talk to someone and I find out that they're much better than what they think that they are. And so that's what we want to do, so that when they go in front of the client to interview, they have a winning formula. We ask them to go on offense. In other words, we ask them to make this portfolio that they make. We help them, but they create it. It's about them, okay? This book here, Veronica says, if I may, it says, the largest letter says market yourself to the top. Not we market, you market, some company, you market yourself, because no one knows you better than yourself. So we try and create a format where you tell us why you're really, really good. And listen, everybody is really good. They just don't need an enemy. They're their worst enemy. I'm too slow, I'm too fast, I don't have enough education, I'm this, I'm that. We don't need anybody because we do a really great job of criticizing where you are. So we change that around, say, stop doing that. Tell us why you should be at this particular job. Tell us what your talent is. You're a CEO, okay, what do you do? You're a financial guy, tell us what you do. You're a lady that has great skills in sales, tell us what you do, but show us what you do. Show us how you created a sale. Show us how you created an organization visually, and then we put it in color so that it becomes compelling. If you're going to buy a Lexus, they're going to give you this great portfolio that shows you the leather seats, the engine, the colors, everything that's beautiful about it. That's what we want to do. We make you pretty first in an intelligent way in which you tell a story about who is product you. After all, you are a product. They wouldn't hire an executive, they wouldn't hire an accountant if they didn't need an accountant. That's your product. I'm an accountant. Okay, so begin to think of yourself as a product.
Because even in the book you reference, and the book is very inspiring.
Thank you.
Even in the book you reference marketing yourself as a product, as a pie or something that makes people want it, to go after it. And that's something that's unique in your industry?
Yes, very much so. There's no other search firm that I know that does that. We've beat a lot of big search firms simply because the candidates beat them, not us. The candidate beats them. Because again, we empower the candidate. We usually present 3 candidates. 1 accepts the job and 2 quits their job because they now have a tool. They now have something that they carry with them, a 7 or 8 page portfolio in color that says who they are and what they do to an ultimate way, and they say, I can do this. I can carry my own water. I don't need anybody to carry it for me.
So you just mentioned 7 or 8 page portfolio. So that in itself is very different than the traditional resume.
Yes. The things that I got some blowback on was that, no, they just wanted 1 or 2 pages. You know, when you want to do something, you want to look your very best. So you want to look your very best. You want to be different. You want to reinvent yourself. You want to remodel who you are. And the way that you do that is by having a different presentation. Just very simply for people that are watching this, if you will put your resume, if you want to just stick with just your resume, change it to navy blue color, because that's going to stand out with another tip, put a box and drop your text inside of it. Because anytime you create a box and you drop text, it becomes an advertisement, okay? So we have an advertisement about who you are. That's as if you hired a company that says, make me pretty, make me nice, and Advertisers use that. They have portfolios. This is how I ran my clip. This is what I did for this, and and that's what we do for candidates. It doesn't matter what kind of job you are. We'll build a portfolio especially for you. It's like the fingerprint. Everyone is different, and everyone's excited, and everyone is pretty because we do it in color. What's your favorite color? For the front page, we say, this is who Veronica Douglas is. This is what she does. We try to add a little more zip to it. She's the director. She's the elite director of. We add pronouns we put some buzzwords in there that add a little action. We want it to be compelling. Again, we want it to tell the story in a compelling way, in a pretty way. Again, is it about pretty? No, it's about you making yourself look the best you can. So we don't do black and white resumes. We don't do 2 pages. We don't do 1 page. We want to sell a package. This is what product Veronica is. This is what she does. This is what she's done. And then when we go to the interview, we teach people, say, before it starts, thank you, Mr. Jones, Ms. Jones, for seeing me today. May I tell you a little bit about myself? Again, you go on offense. What are they going to say? No? Of course not. They'll say, go ahead. And so you open this portfolio, you give them a copy, and you quickly go through this portfolio. You will see that they'll begin to leaflet back through as if they're seeing a magazine. And then you say, well, thank you for allowing me. I'm ready to answer any questions you may have. You've already told them more 3 or 4 times than what they will ever ask. They won't ask you what's your favorite color. They won't ask you what's the worst thing that you did. They're already admiring that either you had too much time on your hands or you did a hard 3 or 4 days in creating this portfolio, that's specially for them. I view it like this, for example. When you get the annual report to a company, the first 6 or 7 pages are in color, they're graphs, they're charts, and so forth. The next 70 or 80 pages are in text for the accountants, for the investors, and so forth. So they tell their story first in a very pretty way.
So, you're very successful. Execufirm is very successful. Like you said, you were named one of the top 25 firms in Houston by the HBJ. Yes. But you also recently placed the 2019 CIO of the Year. Tell us about that.
The 2019 CIO of the Year was a young man back then in 2000 that I placed with a gentleman that owns the Astros now. He had a company, a fast forwarding company, Eagle Global Logistics, and we placed him there. And I tracked the people that I work with. He was the first one. By the way, I got the idea from him on the portfolio because I said, this was back in 2000, how does the internet work? And he proceeded to draw a chart about how it worked. And I said, wow, that's a great way of saying, can you do that with your complete resume? Sure. So he did a complete visual. He was one of 200 candidates, by the way. Wow. He went to the University of Houston downtown, and so the gentleman asked him, why should I hire you? Because I can do the job better than anyone else. Did I not show you? And so he got hired, and he's made and I kept track. He's made the list 4 times. Wow. Of the most successful CIO of the year. This time he won. Doesn't mean that he wasn't good enough 4 times. It mean he was good enough 4 times to make it to the top, and then he won this year. And so I'm very proud to represent him. I'm now trying to start an agency where I represent executives, just like baseball players have agents, because again, it's needed. We don't have those. And so
you're really good at recognizing the need and going after it and finding the solution.
Yes, I do everything that I do, Veronica, whether it's for Nemec, I draw pictures. I no longer write. I write terrible. And listen, if it weren't for spell check, there'd be no books. I'm a horrible speller. But again, it's a central thing. It's a vision. Once you have a vision, write it down. It's so important to write it down and then see what you've written down. It went from here to here. It begins to make an impression. I actually can do this. You become empowered. I'm about empowering people. I'm about, how can I make you great? I had a saying with a search firm said, tell me where you want to go and I'll take you there. Tell me where you want to go and I'll take you there. The lady who's the number 4 person in the biggest church here in Houston, right? May I mention the name, Lakewood?
Sure. Oh, I was thinking Lakewood.
I asked her one day, she was 23, I said, tell me what you want, take that, I do theatrics. Put the pencil here, it's a magic wand, tell me what you want to be, tell me your dream job. And she said, I want to work for my church. Are you kidding? She was working for a huge company at the time. No. I said, okay, let's make a portfolio, let's make it happen. And so we went through the steps and we made it happen. And she had no idea she was going to be doing that. She wanted to do that. It's unbelievable, not because of me, because of the book, because of the methods. A gentleman that I might mention, Miguel, he was a president of a small company that did safety things. And he said, I'm unhappy, I don't want to do this. I listened to him for about 3 days because I listened a lot. And I said, you need to work for a nonprofit. Long story short, he's working for the cancer, MD Anderson. And he said, I'm nobody here. I'm going to get a PhD. He now has a PhD. And I tell him, how do you like working? I go to Disneyland every day, he says. Wow. So the book does things that are unbelievable. It's unbelievable what we as people can do when we have a clear vision of exactly what do we want to do. Not what we'd like to do, what do we want to do? Make the like into a vision and make the dream into reality.
And you actually brought a sample of your portfolio. Talk to us a little bit about it.
Well, you know, the first thing, when you buy a bag of Fritos, it says Fritos on the front. So I want you to have a page that says, this is my favorite color, and this is who I am. I'm an outstanding project manager. My name is Veronica Douglas, and I'm an outstanding, I like to use action verbs. And then the next thing that we do is we actually make a table of contents about all the pages that are in there in color, okay? And then we go page by page. For example, tell us what you do on a daily, weekly, monthly, annual basis at your job. And so you list 3 or 4 things in bullets. Nobody does that. Tell me what you would do the first 100 days that you're at work. Nobody does that. And so you begin to assume that you're already there, and the person who's interviewing is saying, wow, nobody does that. So you do what nobody else does. You take a leap of faith. You don't have the job anyway, so be bold. Take a leap of faith. Give them something different. You know, McDonald's tears their buildings down in 20 years. Good, workable buildings, and they make brand new ones. Why? They want the perception to say, hey, we're renewing who we are. We're reinventing. Ladies, for example, change their color of hair all the time, right? That's the way it is. You need to reinvent your career as often as possible. When you start saying, I've reached the top, I'm in an organization, I can't go anywhere anymore, let me start looking. Where else can I contribute? Where else can I be successful? Where else can I have a passion? Once you find the thing that you have passion for, you'll never work a day in your life.
And so Market Yourself Back to the Top is your hardback book, but you also have a series of ebooks. Tell us rather quickly about your ebooks that you have.
The ebooks, I have so many topics that I would like to write about: how to raise money, how to be able to do a program I told you with high school kids, how to become tomorrow's leaders, becoming tomorrow's leaders, in which I do a 3-day seminar, and we do a portfolio for them also in color. But some of the books if you write 10,000 words, it's a book. It's an ebook. You just go to a guy or a company that can do very, very quickly what you can do. You can also place your own ebook on Amazon. I mean, it gives you instructions. Your cover, you can have your cover. It only takes a PDF of color. So I found out that you can do books quicker. By the way, this first book, I hate to be rejected. I don't like to take no for an answer. If not today, how about tomorrow? If not tomorrow, how about next year? So I said, I'll just self-print this. I don't need anybody to endorse it. I know that it works, so I'll just do it myself. And so you need to have an entrepreneurial eye. These books are about, they have the same brand, Market Yourself to the Top. Market Yourself to the Top, Headhunters, Dream Job Hunting, Market Yourself to the Top, Common Sense Advice by a Search Consultant, Market Yourself to the Top, The Job Plan, Solutions to End Your Long-Term Unemployment, Market Yourself to the Top, especially for the working woman.
All right, that one really caught my
And this one
attention.
in Spanish, El Plan de Trabajo, the plan of work. I had a lady that's a Spanish author that translated it for me. But I'm excited. There's so many things that I've been blessed to do that I want to share with everyone. Again, it's about sharing what you know in a way that is respectful and exciting.
So with that, tell us, how can we reach you first for those interested in finding the book? And quickly give us Nemec's website. How can we get in contact with Nemec?
Okay,
If we want to
Nemec's
join?
website is Nemec, N-A-M-C, Texas, T-X-A-S.org. You'll find our website there. We're doing some exciting things. We'd like to help you if you want help. And then mine, I usually do LinkedIn. It's under Abel, A-B-E-L, R, middle initial R, Garcia, G-A-R-C-I-A. I don't do websites because what I do is more unique, and I think that you need to look at the LinkedIn to see the different things that I've done, so where can I fit into what you do. The books you can find under Abel R. Garcia, author, Amazon, under Amazon Books. They're very inexpensive, $3, $4, $5. Again, it's not about making money, it's about sharing information.
Abel, thanks for coming on. You have inspired me to go on to be even more than I ever dreamed I could be. So these books are very inspiring. I appreciate you coming on today. Thanks for everything that you do for our executives as well as for Nemec.
Veronica, thank you very much for the opportunity to have me share this information. I enjoyed it.
For more information on HCC Small Business Program, visit our website or follow us on Twitter at HCCSBDP. For It's Your Business, I'm your host, Veronica Douglas.